Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, November 14th. So looking back at yesterday's session real quick, right? We had like slightly spiky overnight range, right? We opened at the bottom of the range, but as we continued into the next session, right, you can see how spiky it was. And just keep in mind for ES, right? These are ES levels we're looking at. 6811 is your low volume node, and so is right around 6780. Those are your low volume nodes. So basically, that's where you would draw a support resistance line at those two levels, and then you would see, think about this is one distribution, this is a second distribution, and above there is a third distribution. For the Nasdaq, it's really 25,000. I would say right around 270 is that low volume node, but you can see that it's kind of spiky up to 25,000. We'll even go up to 25,100 and then low volume node. And then you got some overhead supply that would be at 25,200 to 240, 250, right around in there. Looking at all the indexes or not just looking at the ES and NQ a little bit different, right? You can just see that every time you had a 30-minute up on that downtrend, right, it was just as soon as that next bar opened, you could pretty much just sell it. And that is, something to keep in mind when you have an up. So what you can do is one of the techniques people use is to watch the close of the previous bar. When you sweep above the high of the previous bar, when you've made that high, as soon as you cross back through the close of that bar, that's the short against the high that you just made. So that is, when you're looking for an entry that is, it's not the best entry in the world, but it does work when we're trending in this manner. And then you have a very good risk to reward on the way down. Looking at where we are on the ES, you have 6680 was the point of control from last Friday's trading session. So we're it again. And remember, I said last week, by getting into this uh, distribution, the profit target, or not the profit target, but the target to check as far as profile theory is concerned, all other technicals aside, is the bottom of balance, which would be basically between uh, right around the top of that lower end would be 6611. The bottom of it would be this, you know, sucker bar from uh, basically October 10th. Uh, that is the range that you're looking at. And then we'll see in the overnight action because what you can see so far is the ES took out last Friday's low in the overnight and is hanging around that low right now where the ES has not got quite down to there yet. There's still a lot of time left in the session, 30 more minutes in the overnight basically. And then, the 6.5 hours of trading that we do. So right now, potential divergence at a key technical level as well. So as we look at where we're at, one thing to keep in mind is this one-day expected toss move, right, is right around 24,800. So getting back above there, that will probably be an inflection point, right, will either uh, be resistance from what should have been the bottom, or we'll get back into it and we could just start floating up towards yesterday's low, yesterday's point of control, which is 25,050, then the gap fill, and there should be a lot of sellers around there on the first pass, and then see what kind of retracement you would get, and then go back up. But there is a high probability for an 80% roll to the upside today. That would be right around 25,235. That's almost 500 points up from where we're currently trading. Uh, so keep that in mind. That's a hefty target. I am currently long with some risk management, looking for those upper levels. And then as we look at positioning, which is really, there's not a lot going on the cash market, right? This top line now is for all of next week that we're adding up, and the bottom line is for today. You can look at that. I posted it. Um, the same with the SPY. You're looking at 660 would be the floor. That'd be about 60 points lower than we're currently trading right now in the ES. So the ES is trading 66.97, so that'd be around 66.37 basically, is where that would be. And then, looking out at today, your extreme top would be 680, and that would be 150 points higher than we're trading, about 160 points right now. Uh, that's probably not on the table, but we could definitely get towards that level. But the key thing that I'm looking at today is this, the QQQ, the 600 level. So in the overnight session, we traded down to 598. Uh, I started scalping long between 599 and 600. And then, after we traded 599, we went back up to 600, kind of got out, and I've been wiggling around in here. So my cost basis is right around 599 right now. And then looking to really get up to 605 to 610. I'm going to take some off at 602 half. I'm going to take some off at 605, 607 half, and looking for 610 for the runners is what I'm looking at. And my stop is really at this point, because the target's so big, I'm looking at 595 to 597 right in there. I've got some coming off at 597. I would re-add back in at 595 with just a stop at 593.75. And then looking at where we're at right now, we're right at that 600 level, which is going to be, let's just approximate it. I'll send out the exact numbers when I post the grid in a little while, but 24,745 is probably around where it is today. And then again, looking for some of it at 850, and then at 950, and then at 2550, and then basically at 25,150 would be the upside is what I'm looking at right now. So we'll see what Jack's looking at, but keep in mind, we're nearing the bottom of this area. So this is either going to hold or it's not, right? So we're right at the inflection point. We've been in an aggressive selling pattern. We'll see if we get, at least, if nothing else, a little bit of a reversion up to where you shake some of the overnight traders out, and then institutions find a better place to sell from. But the 600 could be a battle zone most of the morning session, right, Fro? So we hit 598 overnight. We could maybe hit 603, 604. Keep in mind that yesterday's session, and I should bring this up right now, and I'm going to pull that picture up one more time, and I'll kind of leave it at that. But as we look at yesterday, and there was a couple things going on in the morning, right? Jack did a counter trend long into a short, and he took the short in the morning, right? Just for I think he was looking for 50 points, if I remember right, at that point in time, and that continued to bleed down. But you can't be greedy, because that's not normally how the market goes. You got to play for what's normal, especially greed is what is the trader's worst enemy. But what I want to show you down here is at that point in time, if you look at the tick chart on the lower side, that was also the VWAP. So you traded down your, riding this -2, you traded up to the VWAP right around 10 o'clock, maybe, a little bit before, a little bit after, right around there. Uh, and then that was also a short. So that's another technical place that institutions are just going to sell from on an aggressive sell. So keep in mind that as we go today, the VWAP whether we're above it or below it on a first test, and there should be sellers any time that you get off there. So if you want, wherever that is, if you want to take some runners off just short of the VWAP, if you do end up in a long sequence, that's usually a good spot to take some off, and then you know, or take it all off and then look on for your next entry. Uh, we'll see if it's going to be very aggressive, right? You're going to blow through that VWAP, you're going to go up to the +1, and then you're going to hold the VWAP the rest of the session, basically. So keep in mind that those act as support and resistance. And the same thing, the ES came into that VWAP at the same point in time, and you just come back down and you just rode that -2 into the rest of the day. So I hope this helps you guys have a great day, have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday.